Jesse Owens was the fastest human of his day, and he took both the 200 and 100-meter titles. Here's his lightning-like form as he captures the 100-meter in 10.3 seconds, just a tenth slower than today's record. Dufour was furious that his Nordics were unable to beat Owens and refused to present the gold medal to Jesse. That couldn't dim the pride of the U.S. in the Buckeye Bullet. They called it the race of the century, a match between War Admiral and Seabiscuit. This meeting of the year's top horses sees War Admiral the heavy favorite, but it's Seabiscuit who takes the lead in the stretch and pulls away to the frenzied cheers of 40,000 fans at Maryland's Pimlico. Biscuit became one of the biggest money winners of his day.
Basketball was written in capital letters by the Beavers of City College. The speedy, sharpshooting Cagers from New York sent the blood pressure of their fans soaring as they swept to victory over the top teams of the nation. The Beavers won the National Invitation Tournament, the National Collegiate, to hit a jackpot unprecedented in basketball. 1950 will long be remembered by Coach Nat Holman and his eager Beavers from CCNY. 30,000 fight fans are out in Berlin to see Gerhard Hecht, the German light heavyweight champion, clash in a non-title bout with the visiting world middleweight champ, Sugar Ray Robinson of New York. At ringside is Mrs. Robinson and Sugar Ray's sister, and they see a lot more than just another fight. Winner of 126 pro bouts with only one defeat, Robinson quickly displays his mastery over the German. The referee starts the count, but stops when Hecht's handlers charge their boy had been floored by a kidney punch. The ref also grants the fallen idol of Berlin a 1-minute respite for medical examination. Apparently still smarting over the pasting Joe Louis gave Max Schmeling years ago, the fans are boiling at this point, and Hecht keeps them boiling with dramatic effect. Meanwhile, Robinson waits patiently in his corner for the verdict that his opponent is physically okay, and the fight goes on. For 10 seconds it goes on. Again, Hecht turns as Robbie bores in, and down he goes, clutching at his back. Again, his handlers scream foul. The fans take up the chant of protest, and the referee disqualifies Robinson, a blot on a fine record. On top of that, he has to duck a barrage of bottles and other missiles thrown into the ring. 6 hours later, the West Berlin Boxing Commission set aside the disqualification verdict, ruling it a no-decision fight. But right now, a thoroughly pulverized Gerhard Hecht is dragged to his corner, and an angry mob, incited, some say, by communist troublemakers, heaps both abuse and bottles on Sugar Ray Robinson. Led to safety by 20 Berlin policemen, Robbie escapes without injury, his outstanding fight record unblemished. Out of the subway into the Polo Grounds pour fans by the thousands for the sudden death game in the playoff between the faltering Dodgers and the stretch-running Giants. New York is baseball wild over a climactic wind-up to a pulse-tingling National League pennant. Leo DeRocher's miracle team spotted the Dodgers a 13-game advantage in mid-August and overtook them at the finish line. Lorraine Day, Mrs. DeRocher, has her fingers crossed because this is it. In the first inning, the Giants' 23-game winner, Sal Magley, walks 2 men, and with 1 out, pitches to Jackie Robinson. It's a single for the Dodgers' slugging second baseman, and it brings Pee Wee Reese in with the first run of the game. 1-0, Brooklyn, until the bottom of the 7th, when Urban doubled off Newcomb to get things going for the New Yorkers. Then on Whitey Lockman's sacrifice bunt, Walker's throw to Cox is too late to nip the sliding Urban. Close, but he's safe. Bobby Thompson, one of the heroes of the first game of the playoff, flies deep to center. Plenty of time for Urban to tag up and come in to make it a tied-up ball game. In the 8th, The Dodgers got to Magley for 3 runs, and Dodger fans saw victory at long last. But Big Don Newcomb faltered in the 9th. Ralph Branca, who lost the opener, comes on the scene with 1 giant run across and 2 on base. The fans sense the drama of the situation and the irony, for Branca has to pitch to Bobby Thompson, who homered off him only 2 days ago. Branca's first pitch to Thompson is a strike, and here is pitch number 2. With 1 blast of his bat, Bobby Thompson, the Flying Scot, brings the pennant race to a swift, stunning close. A 3-run homer wins it 5-4, and the Giants are in. The Polo Grounds burst its seams as Thompson trots around, and Eddie Stanky hugs Leo DeRocher in unrestrained joy. Lippy's Cinderella team writes baseball history for a magnificent stretch battle, and Bobby Thompson, whose home run wrapped it up, is the center of jubilant teammates and Giant fans. 39 out of their last 47 games is some record. And then coming from behind in this one, oh, brother, what a pennant victory. Giant fans will be talking about Bobby Thompson and today's game for years to come. At Carnoustie, Scotland, Ben Hogan draws a large following for the final round of the British Open. Frank Stranahan of Ohio gets away, followed by the tiny Texan, Big Ben, to British admirers. He got off to a slow start, but finishes fast, despite some opposition, like this from Stranahan. The Toledo ace really chipped onto this green, and he winds up in a 4-way tie for second after winning the first round with a sizzling 70. Sparkling play, but it was the steel-nerved Hogan, U.S. Open champ, who stole the show and the hearts of the fans. The wee Iceman, they called him in Scotland. He missed a close one on occasions, but by now his lead was too commanding. 73 in the first round, 71 in the second, then a 70. And now he holds out with a record-shattering 68 to take the title. So Ben Hogan joins golf immortals Bobby Jones and Gene Sarazen, winning both the U.S. and British Open titles in 1 year. Dallas, where Rice meets Alabama in the Cotton Bowl before 75,000. Star of Alabama is hit hard, fumbles the ball, and Taylor of Rice recovers. And here it is, that play you've been reading about. Billy Magle of Rice on his way to a touchdown, tackled by Tommy Lewis, the emotional Alabama fullback, who gets off the bench and brings down the speeding Magle. Just too full of Alabama, Lewis said afterwards. Rice got the touchdown anyway, and more. Magle put on the greatest running show in Cotton Bowl history. His 3 touchdowns helped his team gain a 28-6 victory over Alabama. Nashua, number 1, Swamps, number 2, in the race of the year. Nashua, with Eddie O'Carroll giving him the whip, breaks fast from his rail position, with Swamps, Willie Shoemaker up hard on his heels. This is a match race, $100,000, winner take all, East versus West. Nashua, the Bel Air Beauty, versus the Wonder Horse from California, Swamps, who beat him in the Kentucky Derby. Here at Washington Park outside Chicago, they can settle old scores and new ones. The winner will be named top 3-year-old and the horse of the year. Swaps is still running second, but holding on. And the crowd of 36,000 is waiting for the Big Bay to make his bid. Time is running out. But it is Nashua who opens up in the stretch. Swaps doesn't have it. As it developed later, he injured his right front leg at the start. But right now, all eyes are on Nashua and the veteran Eddie O'Carroll, opening up the gap and going on to victory by 6 1/2 lengths. It's all Nashua gaining sweet revenge for his defeat by Swaps at Churchill Downs. The California Colt was favored to win, but it's the pride of the East who brings home the bacon. $100,000 worth. Winner take all. Nashua, horse of the year. At Aintree, England, it's really the royal sport, with the Queen and Queen Mother among the thousands present for the Grand National Steeplechase, a 30-jump, 4.5-mile route that's called the world's toughest test of horse and rider. This year, a stunning surprise in the finish. A shoe-in victory evaporated when, with 60 feet to go, the royal entry Devon Lock stumbled and fell. ESP romps home the winner. Devon Lock's at a terrific pace, building up to a last-minute letdown, borne by his owner with queenly dignity. Later, 19-year-old Charlie Dumas cleared the 7-foot mark in the high jump, a long-sought feat comparable to the first 4-minute mile.
Dietrichson Zacharias is dead of cancer at the age of 42. Her 3-year fight for life ended painlessly in a Galveston hospital as she slept. George Zacharias, her husband, is joined by sports lovers everywhere in mourning her. It's the close of one of the most fabulous careers in sports that began in the 1932 Olympics in Los Angeles. 18 years old, she won 2 gold medals with astonishing performances that made her name a byword. Golf was the favorite sport of the world's greatest woman athlete. Beloved for her warmth and spirit, she won a hero stature by her feats, winning nearly 90 major tournaments, including the Women's National Open 3 times. The first American to win the British Women's Amateur, she received a hero's homecoming from her adopted city of Denver. Now, through the cancer fund she set up recently, Babe Dietrichson continues her last and greatest fight.
Yankee Stadium for the 5th game with the Yanks and Dodgers tied up 2 games apiece, a pivotal game. Sal Magley is going for his 2nd victory for Brooklyn. Mickey Mantle steps in. Going, a home run for the Yankees' great slugger. His 3rd in this year's Fall Classic. First hit off Magley and the first run of the game. The way things turned out, Mickey's blast was enough, though the Yanks did score again in the 6th. Spine-tingling catches thrilled the onlookers. Yogi Berra hits one, and Duke Snyder races in for a tumbling catch to electrify the 65,000 fans in the stadium. And more thrills were to follow. Not a Dodger had reached first base off Don Larson, the big right-hander from California, who'd been taken out in the 2nd inning of the 2nd game. 1 down in the 5th, Larson faces Gil Hodges. Hodges powers one towards left center, but Mantle sprints over for the catch. Mickey saves the day. Larson continues his mastery of the Dodgers. 2 out in the 9th, still not a hit. Dale Mitchell is pinch hitting for Magley. He stands between Larson and a perfect game. The tension in the stands is terrific. Here it comes. He strikes him out. The Yanks win a key game 2-0, and Don Larson is baseball's man of the hour. He pitched the first no-hitter in a World Series and the 2nd perfect game in the history of the major leagues.
North Carolina's Tar Heel quintet, unbeaten in 31 games this year, meets the favorite Kansas Jayhawks. Wilt the Stilt Chamberlain and company for the National Collegiate Championship. From the opening moments, Kansas is off its stride as coach Frank McGuire's Tar Heels take the lead and hold it with a tight ball control strategy. Kansas doesn't get a chance for its freewheeling fast break attack, but the Tar Heels keep dropping those goals. North Carolina's cautious strategy isn't very popular, but they stick with it, outshooting the Jayhawks with 21 field goals to 15 for Kansas, whose star, Wilt Chamberlain, is held to a mere 6 goals. The game goes into 3 overtime periods before the Tar Heels wind it up 54-53, their first National Collegiate Championship ever.
It's Bob Pettit Day in St. Louis. Actually, it's the hometown Hawks versus the Boston Celtics in the playoffs. 6th game for the NBA championships. But it's Bob Pettit all over the place, running wild as the Hawks, ahead 3 games to 2, battle to win this one and sew up their first pro title in 13 years. There's Pettit again. Pettit plays his greatest game, scoring 21 points in the first half, sparking the Hawks to a 57-52 lead. The Celts are always dangerous. They narrow the gap to 1 point in the closing seconds. And the Hawks play to save that slim margin. A cautious game of keep away until the final bell. There's a lot at stake. Time runs out, and the championship goes to the Hawks, 110-109. Who's the man of the hour? Bob Pettit, the new scoring record for a regulation time playoff game, 50 points. The Harlem Globetrotters go into their famous warm-up circle before a turnout of 18,000 at Madison Square Garden. They won't go into high gear with their basketball buffoonery till the game, but in the crowd, Roy Campanella is already getting his kicks. It's a benefit game against the Philadelphia Spas, and the Trotters show they can play it straight and slick, as if anybody doubted or cared. It's the court comedy of Mitterlock Lemon, Wilt Chamberlain and company that draws the crowds and baffles the opposing team and the referees. It's good-natured clowning. They'll even give the ball away to set up an out-of-bounds play. How'd that happen? Nothing sacred and nobody safe when they cut loose. Mitterlock talks himself into a foul shot. When he gets on the line, watch those feet. He shoots. Really foul. Anything for a laugh and let the ref fall where he may. $65,000 are in Yankee Stadium as the Giants meet the Colts for the Pro Grid Championship. And through the first half, Johnny Unitas has the Cinderella team down in the dumps with his brilliant passing. Unitas climaxes an 85-yard drive with a perfect pitch to Ray Berry in the end zone. And Baltimore leads 14-3 at the half. But the Giants rally. After a stand on their own one, Connerly's long pass to Rote clicks. Rote goes 62 yards. He fumbles. Webster scoops it up, and he keeps going. But he's hit and out of bounds on the 1-yard line. On the next play, Mel Triplett dives over to score. The Giants are playing like contenders again. Connerly connects again. And Gifford carries the ball, and the Colts Milt Davis, both over the goal line. The Giants lead 17-14 in the fourth period. Then with the seconds ticking away, Unitas pitches to Berry, part of a brilliant drive for yardage. The Colts are on New York's 13. With only 7 seconds remaining, Steve Myra boots a field goal from the 20, and the game is tied up as time runs out. For the first time in National League history, a game goes into sudden death overtime. After the Giants fail to advance the ball, Unitas takes over, masterminding an 80-yard downfield drive. Unitas completes 4 out of 5 passes. New records were set for receptions and yardage. Johnny Unitas, the quarterback who couldn't get a job a few years ago, moving the ball to the Giants' 1. There he hands off to Amici. The horse rams across and the Colts win 20-17. One of the most exciting games ever. '60 saw the greatest winter sports spectacle ever staged on the North American continent. The Winter Olympics at Squaw Valley, California. America's first gold medal at Squaw Valley was won by skating queen Carol Heiss. An unexpected triumph came with the superb playing of Uncle Sam's hockey sextet, which beat highly favored Russia and finished the 5-game series undefeated. Team of underdogs who topped the stiffest competition in the sport.
At Madison Square Garden, the 33rd Intercity Golden Gloves, with top amateurs of New York and Chicago mixing it up. Lightweights Brian O'Shea in the light trunks tangles with defending champ Vince Shomo of New York. Shomo has lost only twice in 33 gloves outings. Brian turns the bout into a real go-round, but Shomo's got too much stuff. It's Vince Shomo, still the champion at the final gong. Cassius Clay of Chicago challenges Gary Joyce, the Eastern heavyweight champ, and Joyce is in trouble from the first round on. It's a TKO decision for Cassius Clay, and more points for the Windy City team, which wins 12 bouts out of the card of 16, sponsored by the News Welfare Association for Tournament Honors.
Nearly 37,000 crowded to Pittsburgh's Forbes Field for the final game of the World Series. The day before, the Yankees had evened the games at 3-all. Now, Mantle comes to bat in the sixth, with New York trailing 4-1. And a sharp single by the switcher scores Bobby Richardson. The Pirates' ace reliever, Elroy Face, has been the Yankees' nemesis till now. Yogi Berra lofts the ball into the upper right field deck. A 3-run homer. Mantle and Kubek cross the plate ahead of Yogi, and the Yankees lead by 1 run. Two more Yankee runs in the top of the 8th, and the game looks in the bag. But the Pirates explode in the same inning. Dick Groat singles with 2 men on, and Samoli scores. Bob Clemente dribbles a grounder to Skowron, but he beats the play at first as Bill Burton crosses the plate. It's 9-6 with 2 men on base and 2 out. Hal Smith, once a Yankee prospect, comes to bat. And he smashes the ball high over the left field wall for 3 runs. Buccaneers move to a 9-7 lead, and the fans in Forbes Field are delirious. It's the last chance for New York now. Mantle singles, scoring Richardson and sending Dale Long to third. A bewildering play next. Berra grounds to first. Nelson tags the base, then misses Mantle on his way back from second. Mickey's safe, and the tying run is in. Bottom of the 9th, 9-all, and Bill Mazeroski comes to bat. And he clocks a tremendous blow high over the wall, winning the ball game, and the Pittsburgh Pirates win their first World Series in 35 years the hard way. Mazeroski dances through a line of backslappers the last 90 feet as Pittsburgh begins its celebration of victory in one of the most titanic struggles in baseball history. The will he or won't he question is answered by the bat of Roger Maris at New York. With 59 home runs and needing 1 more to equal Babe Ruth's record, he faces Jack Fisher of the Orioles. He gets a pitch he likes, and away it goes. Roger now will go into the record book, but with a footnote that Babe Ruth made his 1927 record within a 154-game season. It took Maris 159 games of the expanded schedule to do the same. What's Roger's reaction? This. He says this is his greatest homer of them all. Later, joy reigns in the dressing room of the American League champs as Roger meets Mrs. Babe Ruth. A kiss from the man who almost dethroned her King of Swat. Crowd in Yankee Stadium for the final game of the year is here to cheer not the Yankees, but Roger Maris, who comes through with his 61st homer for a new baseball record. It's a qualified record, however. Babe Ruth set his 1927 record of 60 homers in a shorter season of 154 games. And it took Roger 4 more games to hit 60 and 162 games to hit 61. The baseball commissioner has ruled that Ruth's record stands until someone hits 61 in the same number of games. That ruling does nothing to dull the roar of the crowd today.
They won't let Roger alone until he comes out of the dugout and takes a bow. The newest Sultan of SWAT, Roger has set a record that will probably stand for many years. There was a rising young star on the basketball horizon a few years ago in Philadelphia. He was Wilt Chamberlain, nearly 7 feet tall even then, who was the most remarkable high school hoop player ever to come on the scene. With his extraordinary height, he was head and shoulders over his rivals, you might say. During his high school days, there was no one in his class defensively, and when driving for a basket, Wilt was almost unstoppable. Every basketball-minded college wanted this young man, and he finally elected to go to the University of Kansas, where he proved invaluable in sparking his teams to victory. The crowds loved his defensive play as much as his offensive work. For such a tall man, he handled himself gracefully in every move. He blazed through his college years like a comet, and there wasn't a pro team in the country that didn't long to have him. He finally signed with the Philadelphia Warriors and was up against men of his own size and with more experience. But that didn't slow him. He set league records in his first year and has smashed them one by one since. His latest, he's the first man to score 100 points in a single game. There are few records left for Wilt to tilt. Worst autumn storm to hit the West Coast in 50 years rips a path 1,000 miles long and 125 miles wide, extending from California to British Columbia. In the Oakland-San Francisco area, a 3-day deluge dumped 6 inches of rain, a record downpour. Sewers couldn't handle the water, and the rising waters flooded streets and highways. The city of Oakland was isolated for more than a day, and California alone counted 16 deaths. As the fury of the storm mounted, so did the casualties and damage. At least 46 persons died, and damage is estimated at many millions. In Oregon alone, the storm loss is $150 million, and federal aid is being rushed to the hardest hit areas where many hundreds are homeless. A sidelight to the storm, of course, was the interruption of the World Series play between the Yankees and the Giants. Candlestick Park might as well be named Candlestick Pond, as the clay-packed subsoil prevented the playing field from drying out, even when the rain stopped. The groundskeepers faced a Herculean task in drying up the field with chemicals and plain muscle power before the 6th game could be played. When it was played, the Giants came to the surface and sank the Yankees to tie the series. Apart from the astronauts, John Pennell is Uncle Sam's highest flyer. And at Miami, he sets a pole vault record for the 7th time. For the first time, a man tops the 17-foot mark as Pennell hits 17 feet 3/4 of an inch. In slow motion, it looks so easy. The fiberglass pole seems to put him into orbit. Starting in March, when he jumped 16.3, Pennell has inched up gradually until this grand jump today. Now he hopes to reach 17 feet 3 or 4 inches. Then he'll need a parachute to land.
One of the most fabulous baseball players of all time becomes the highest paid player in history. Willie Mays signs a 2-year contract that will bring him an estimated $130,000 a year. Willie has larceny in his heart when he reaches first. He can steal second against the best of pitchers. And when a ball is hit to center field, when he's on patrol, watch out. He never drops anything but his cap. At bat, M-A-Y-S spells murder. For example, he opened the 1961 season by becoming one of 9 men to hit 4 homers in 1 game. In this game, the Giants blasted the Braves 14-4, but it was Willie's fence-busting act that made the headlines. The Smiling Willie has been called one of the greatest natural hitters to come down the pike in decades. Now he has hit the biggest home run in baseball's financial records. No one deserves it more. There's a new hero on the international sports scene, Bobby Hull. The hockey ace of the Chicago Blackhawks suddenly finds himself besieged by autograph seekers after putting a new scoring mark on ice. Bobby broke the old record that stood since 1945 by netting more than 50 tallies in a single season. It's been 52 to be exact, and tonight he hopes to make it 53 against the Detroit Red Wings. If writer's cramp doesn't set in, Bobby can count the house and find that 18,000 are on hand, hoping to see him break his own record once again. However, he has not let new records interfere with his puck chasing, the experts say. He's a team man first and a record seeker second. Hull sports number 9, and he's all over the ice, as usual, as the Hawks set out to trounce Detroit 4-1. Hull has a couple of assists in the first period. His own score doesn't come until the second session. 10 minutes into the second period, Hull eases himself near the net to grab the opportunity set up by Stapleton. It's number 53 for Bobby Hull. You might say he's skating his way into the Hull of Fame. The crowd at College Park, Maryland, sees a David come out of the west to slay an eastern Goliath. Texas Western, dark jerseys, takes command almost from the start as they meet Kentucky for the National Collegiate Championships. This Texas score foreshadows things to come. Kentucky, rated number 1, is plagued with injuries but battles valiantly. Pat Riley helps keep them in the running. The Texas Miners use only 7 men during the entire game. That's all they needed. No one noticed Texas much right up to this finale, but they not only kept stealing the ball, they stole the whole show. There hasn't been this much excitement in the University of Maryland gym since the gals first wore bloomers. Kentucky's first score in the second half whittles the Texas lead, but the Miners have little trouble staying in front all the way with plays like this. When the Miners take the rebound down court, watch the way Dave Lattin backs up Austin Artis to tap it in. Both teams had a season record of 26 wins and 1 loss, but there the comparison ends as Texas Western takes the first major sports title the school has ever won. The Wildcat teamers are a happy bunch at the final whistle as Kentucky takes to the mourners bench. Texas Western 72-65. In Los Angeles, the first Super Bowl game puts the Packers against the Chiefs. First quarter, Packers ball. After a 6-play, 80-yard march, quarterback Bart Starr connects to Max McGee, and Green Bay is first on the scoreboard. Kansas City stays in the game on the arm of Len Dawson. With good protection, he hits Otis Taylor on the Green Bay 6. Dawson, rallying his AFL champions from behind, passes to Curtis McClinton for the tying touchdown. 7-all. Before the half, the Packers' power on the ground shows itself. Star running back Jim Taylor, behind good blocking, sweeps his left end to score. Half, Green Bay 14, Kansas City 10, after Mike Mercer kicked the field goal for the Chiefs. This first meeting between the champs of the NFL and the AFL produces plenty of thrills. The turning point in the game. A Packer blitz forces Dawson to rush his throw. Willie Wood picks it off and gallops all the way to the Chiefs' 5-yard line, where Mike Garrett makes a touchdown-saving tackle. But the Packers can't be stopped. Elijah Pitts takes it over and puts Green Bay out in front 21-10. Another Starr to McGee touchdown pass. The Chiefs bound to the Packers 35-10. A super debut for the Super Bowl.